here, man. And to me, this race just should be run under the lights. That's just the way I feel.
Absolutely. And it kind of gets everybody into a mood, right? I mean, everybody's a little bit more laser focused. It's something that I think a lot of sim racers enjoy when the sun goes down and the lights are on you. It kind of makes you feel just a little bit more on edge, if you will. And I think we're going to see some great racing here. Of course, we got teammates out here on the track, but John, even for the guys who may be running solo or you're not always going to be by your said teammates. And so you're going to have to learn to race around whoever's around you, whether, you know the guy or not, or whether you're comfortable with him or not. Tonight kicks off the season, and this is where the rapport really starts to begin with these drivers out here, especially on a super speedway.
Yeah, I mean, if you're out on the track and you don't know the guy that you're racing with, you're not sure how he'll handle a bump draft going. Where's a good place to bump draft him at, or he won't know the same about you. So yeah, it could be kind of I don't want to say tense, Brandon, but yeah, it can make life interesting when you're on a play track with folks you don't know. So yeah, it's a good place to try and get to know each other. Is make sure you're not bumping each other into the wall there. Struggling here. My screen just locked up.
Welcome in, race fans, to the L-TAC Cup Series here on LSRTV as we kick off the first official points race of the season. We ran the Daytona duels on Wednesday. Tonight, alongside John Mustin Jr., I'm Brandon Robinson. We're kicking it off with the Tucson Sound Art 250.
Indeed we are, my friend. Are you ready for some racing in Daytona, Brandon?
I've been ready for about the last 20 minutes. Now that we got all the Kirks out, we are finally live on LSR TV. We appreciate you guys hanging around in the chat. Now, one thing to go over real quick. We talked about it before, John. We'll keep it short, but sad to see James Vining, our pole sitter, not making it in here tonight.
No, he didn't make it in time, unfortunately. He put up a great fight, won the dual race to earn that pole, but did not make the show tonight. So that's going to put Mario LaPinta on pole with Stefan Purcell to his outside.
We took care of the lucky draw off stream and a couple of minutes ago. What the lucky draw is we had a random number generator pick a random number, which happened to be 11. So right now, Kyle Green in the 18 Toyota, he's sitting 11th right now on the grid. If he's able to make his way through the field, and at the end of the race, John, be able to win this race, he gets an extra 3 bonus points added to the overall.
But the key is, you just said he has to win the race. And at Daytona, we all know that you don't know who's going to win the race until they literally cross the line at the end of the race there. We've seen people lead going into 3 and 4, and that car never came out of 3 and 4. So that's going to be a big if on his part.
Yeah, and I feel like at the super speedways, especially when you kick off a season and it's a brand new season, everybody's trying to knock off some rust, or maybe you got some rookies in the league there. I mean, winning at Daytona, maybe you should already get the extra 3 bonus points.
I'm saying, that should be like a reward for finishing an insane race, and we know it's going to be insane. We've got 33 cars on the field, 33 or 32 cars in the field tonight, and that's not a small pack of cars, buddy.
No, and especially here at the super speedway, it does open up the door, though. A lot of guys going to be able to work together. What we saw on Wednesday night with the duels, 15 cars apiece, 20 laps only. Here tonight, 32 cars, as John just mentioned, out there on the track for 100 laps. So It's going to be a game changer compared to what we've seen on Wednesday. It's going to be full go here tonight, and it's going to be Stefan Purcell and Mario Lapinta on that front row.
Yes, it is indeed, and bear with us, folks. We're still having some technical difficulties here. I know you probably see it on screen there, the glitching and the warping in and out. We are definitely working on it, so just bear with us, folks, okay? We'll get this sorted out, and we'll give you guys a quality and fantastic race to watch.
Well, and as we do that, let's shout out Tucson Sound Art. I'm going to throw it over to John. Why don't you tell us a little bit about tonight's sponsor?
Well, I'll be glad to, Brandon. This is some amazing thing that they come up with here, and I'm surprised it took us this long to figure it out. But Tucson Sound Art introduced an entirely new and enjoyable way to listen to music in your home. What you do is you upload or make your own images and pictures into sound art, and it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Everyone who looks at the picture will wonder where the great sound is coming from. A simple charge will last days and give you the ability to go truly wireless with no power cables. Sound art looks good in any room in the house, from the front room to the back room. The speakers are powered by batteries and receive audio via a Bluetooth connection. I mean, nobody will know that the art that you're looking at is actually producing the sound that you're hearing. Tucson Sound Art specializes in creating custom artwork from your personal artwork and photos. You can also choose images from their expansive collection of high-quality photos. It's the perfect gift for friends, family, business associates, and your favorite announcer, Jeff Stabno. To learn more, visit www.tucsonsoundart.com. That's all one word, folks, tucsonsoundart.com.
Yeah, and as the green flag crept on us there, it's Mario Lapinta still in the lead there, out on that front row. He's all by himself. You see behind him, we got the 45 of Stephen Parrott, Stefan Purcell in the 57 riding and charging that high side. He's got Jeremy Berger up there in the Monster Energy car, and a boatload of guys side by side so far as lap 1 is complete here at Daytona.
Right now, they're all doing the right thing, giving each other some space. They're not getting too antsy, too aggressive, but they're definitely not going to want to lose that draft. We talked about that top of the show earlier. This car, once you lose the draft, once you fall too far back, you're done. Until a caution comes out, if you're lucky, and you don't want to get a caution either. So keep your eye on that, folks, on the back of the field there, and watch these guys. They're going to try and stay sucked up in this draft as long as they can tonight.
Yeah, and of course, you know, early on, especially at a race like this, look, guys, we got 100 laps here at Daytona. And John, the most important part of this race could be the beginning. It's going to be about track positioning. It's going to be about putting yourself in a position to where you can avoid the big one. We'll probably have 1 or 2 big ones here, which means 5, 6 cars or more. And especially at a super speedway, we might see a wreck that has 10 to 15 cars in it. And you never know if it's going to be in the front, the middle, or the end of this pack. So right now, guys, really starting to get into their zone, but also feel each other out there on that track.
Well, we almost had a big one a minute ago back there, and I believe it was 11th place, somewhere around Tyler, Grideau or Joseph. One of those two guys got a little out of shape there, kind of bottlenecked some folks. But if you look now, Brandon, what we're seeing is it's starting to single out to just that inside line. And you touched on this much earlier in the first set of pre-race show we did. That outside line, sometimes it comes in, sometimes it doesn't. But I'm gonna be honest with you, with this next-gen car, it's a big question mark. I have no idea if we're gonna see an outside line tonight, or if it's gonna be a bunch of yellow line hugging all night long.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of bottom feeding, especially here in the beginning and as we make our way to the middle of the race. Now, what we saw on Wednesday night, the first duel, it was all single file up until the last lap, the last turn. Then we actually saw a wreck, and the leader got taken out. That was James Fining. But in duel number 2, we started seeing that outside line open up for just a little bit. We had 20 laps there. I'd say a good 10 or 12 of those laps we ran too wide, and then it really, you started seeing these guys make their way to single file. And you're absolutely right. Here in the early going right now, we see a bunch of these guys single file. We do see a couple of stragglers like the 20 of Joseph, who comes in with a reputation of winning. He certainly knows what he's doing. Very high I rating kind of driver out there. And now as soon as I say that, he's going to fall back single file behind the 21 car. But yeah, you nailed it already here early on, a few laps into the race, and that outside line is nowhere to be seen.
No, and but that's okay because we got, like you said, it's a 100 lap. Oh wow, somebody got moved below the yellow line there. It looked like that could have been disastrous. But yeah, we got 100 laps. These guys are just right now trying to figure out what this car is going to do in traffic when they try to pass somebody. A lot of questions trying to be answered here because the qualification races weren't that long, Brandon. And like you said, they were not as big a field as we have right now. So it's going to be a kind of a guessing game for most of the night. But I guarantee you, the guys that are left with 15 to go are the ones we see trying high, middle. They're going to make a fourth line if they can. You wait and watch.
Yeah, and I was trying to look through our race notes here. Maybe the producer can find out some information for us, but I'm not too sure if these guys are getting a fast repair here tonight, and if so, how many? How many sets of tires, and what's the fuel count here? So a lot of things to us up here in the booth is unknown right now. We'll try to figure out that information as the race goes on, but you know, a lot of leagues, I feel like lately, you know, towards the end of last year, really started to get rid of at least having multiple fast repairs. We still see leagues that have maybe one or two, but you know, the leagues that have big fields, they tend to like to have 0 to 1 fast repair. I think it adds a little bit of realism to it, but also I think the theory behind that is obviously, hey, you get one mess up, that's it. After that, you better make sure you keep it clean.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I've never really been a fan of fast repairs except for at plate tracks because sim racing, plate track racing is a beast all its own. You've got the same complications you would in real life, but we have to deal with internet connections here. And sometimes it's not that a driver messed up or made a mistake. It's just the fact that, you know, one end of the internet said one thing and his end of the internet said another thing, and you had a wreck. So this is about the only time, Brandon, I agree with fast repairs, and you know, it's a good thing to have at a plate track.
Last time the L-TAC Cup Series was at Daytona was last year's playoff, which saw Joseph actually winning that race with Emerson Arden in second and Barrick Uphold running third. It had 5 cautions with 15 of the total 83 laps being run under yellow. 1 green, white checkered was used. There was 11 lead changes.
We've got a wreck.
We got a big wreck right there, a big caution coming out.
That happened back there in about 8th place. I didn't see exactly where it started. I just saw a car flying through the air there.
Well, let's go ahead and take a look here. I believe Nate Booker was certainly a part of that. Oh, yeah, the 3 car gets into the back of the 81. It sends it up front, or to the outside, I mean. Meanwhile, he goes onto the infield, and that 81 car just got collected by probably about 3 or 4 cars.
Yeah, that was a huge wreck right there. Very unfortunate for Tyler Greneau. And wasn't he the 11th place? No, he was the guy that won the draw, was he?
He was originally, but then when we went live and the grid shuffled through, it was actually Kyle Green that got it. Yeah, that's right.
Wow, he did go for a ride. He did a Ricky Craven. You remember when Ricky Craven at Talladega back in, what was it, 96, I think, when he flew up over the field?
Oh, yeah.
That was just insane. And that's a good thing about sim racing is that these guys don't get hurt. You know, that would have been painful in real life. But, you know, the good news is he had to take a tow. Unfortunately, Ty took a tow. So he's got to wait until his car gets back to the pits, but he'll have a fast repair. So he'll get that car fixed up. And he might get lucky and catch a caution later on, Brandon, that puts him back in the lead lap.
Well, especially, I mean, with this long of a race, and we did talk about just a few moments earlier that there is going to be a big one, at least one, probably 2, maybe even 3 big ones. So getting it out of the way early, some might say, well, now you got to play cautious. Well, guess what? That's fine. There's so many laps to go as we see the leaders starting to come down pit road, starting with the 13 of Mario Lapinta. But yeah, still plenty of race left. I don't think he's too worried about it. He got it out of the way, and now he just needs to hunker down, focus up on making sure that he does his best to stay out of trouble from here on out.
Absolutely. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break, try to fix some of these technical issues we have. Make sure you stay tuned because we will be back.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back under green flag conditions. Mario Lapinta still leading this race, but Logan Hamilton up 5 spots right now. He is behind him in second. Jeremy Berger in third. Stephen Parrott dropping a spot. He's back down to fourth, and Hunter Thrower is down to fifth. And John, we were talking during commercial break about the aerodynamics of this car. I'm going to let you explain something that you noticed under commercial break.
Yes, sir. So, folks, those of you that have been racing a while or have been watching racing, you've heard the term sucking the car down to the pavement on these plate tracks. You want to get that nose down as close as you can. That keeps the air from getting under the car and slowing it down. Well, if you look right here on the front of this number 83 car, these new cars, the next-gen cars, have an arch on that spoiler, and they don't sit on the track. And no matter how hard you try, you won't get to sit on the track. So you combine the front of this car with the back of the one in front of them with that diffuser, and that's why the draft is so important now, and well, important and not to lose it. Because if you lose it, the front of this car is going to act like a parachute for you, and you're just going to keep dropping and dropping and dropping. So that's all we want to put out. It's a massive difference in the aerodynamics of this car, and it's something NASCAR came up with to quote-unquote make the racing better. So we're going to see how that goes.
Couple of big movers here tonight. Barrick Uphold, at least in the early going, up 10 spots. He's found his way outside the top 10 in 12th. Matt Rucci back in 15th. He's up 16 spots, with Taylor Butcher Benjamin up 15 spots. He was one of those drivers that missed Wednesday night's duels, found his way at the back of the pack here at Daytona. But with that first caution that we had, that was a big one. We saw a car upside down over there, got picked up by just about everybody through the half of that field there. But because of that, we have seen some big movers here. They've been able to gain some track position. And, you know, a lot of drivers came down that first caution there, even though it was still early into the race. I'm assuming that had a lot to do with fuel strategy.
Yeah, I noticed that too, Brandon. Nobody took tires on that run. They just all dipped in and topped off the tank. So, you know, and there's something, again, that it's a guess for me. I don't know if these guys are running 100% fuel. If they are, I think it's around maybe 45 laps on fuel, if I recall. I could be wrong on that. So, fuel strategy may come into play here. If this thing continues to go green, it's definitely going to come into play.
Yeah, top 15 drivers, all single file. It's right there at about that 16th, 17th position where we start seeing this outside line form. So these guys looking to make a surge to try to catch these leaders up here. It's going to be a tough task. It's going to take all the drivers that are back here to be able to work together and really push and pull each other to try to make it through here, because what I'm seeing right now is there's a little bit of a gap between this first pack and the second pack. And like we talked about at the beginning of this broadcast, even though it's still early, we're going to have some cautions. We're going to have some green flag pit stops, I'm sure. But the last thing you want to do is lose that big pack in front of you.
And look at this on the outside. You've got the 20 of Joseph. He's got about, I don't know, 6 or 7 cars behind him, and they're actually making ground there, Brandon. It's very impressive this early in the race that they're getting that outside line of the way. Just as I say that, somebody ducks down and chickens out. See, that's what's going to cause the issues with the outside line. You've got to commit to that run, Brandon. You can't have these guys jump up there and as soon as they feel like the momentum's gone, jump back down. It's not going to help out at all.
Yeah, you're going to have to commit to it. And the experienced drivers are going to be able to do that. They're going to be able to, you know, tell themselves it's early. We got some guys up there. If you start to fall back a little bit, you're still in some good shape. You can catch a side draft. You still have plenty of people on this outside line. And if there is a car out there to do this, and if there is a driver that other people are going to follow, it's most certainly that 20 machine of Joseph. He comes in as one of the more decorated sim racers here in the league. He won the last time these guys were here at Daytona, and you know, he comes in with a lot of experience, and I think that's why this outside line is doing really good. They see that 20 car push up, they know who it is, and these guys, you know, they fell in line. It looks like we're coming up on some lap traffic though here.
That'll be the lap car of Tyler Granat, I believe that is. No, that's not Tyler. That's the 99 car. That's Nathan Christensen. He's already going 2 laps down. Not sure what happened there. He might have missed a start. But, oh, what a tight squeeze right there. 3 wide does not work too well here at Daytona, folks. It's a very narrow track. and trying to stay out of the way. Christensen put himself back up in the wall there, but you touched on it. The guy up front, well, not up front, but up front of that outside line, Joseph, been racing iRacing a long time. He's got a very high I rating, which is really good. But you know what else I noticed, Brandon? If you watch him when he's driving, he's very smooth. There's not a lot of correction going on there. His car doesn't wiggle around a lot. That's a sign of somebody who's done a lot of plate track racing.
Yeah, and you know, it's not as simple as people at home who've never done this or has little experience in these plate tracks might think. Yeah, it's you know, there's 4 turns and it's high banking, and you think, okay, it's flat out, this is easy. But it's really not flat out. Now you get to do that a little bit more with these next gens, but Gen 6, I mean, you were constantly feathering the throttle, making sure you didn't get into the driver in front of you. But as far as keeping it straight, like you said, you do see a lot of people twitch here on these plate tracks. It's not as easy to keep it as smooth as you're talking about. You're absolutely right. That 20 car holding it down as smooth as butter. As he's lost a spot back down to 9th, but I think he's one of those drivers we talked about with the experience. He's cool, calm, collective, knows there's plenty of racing left. Mario Lapinta back up front, still leading this race. He's led every lap here tonight. Logan Hamilton, who we mentioned was up 5 spots, still holding it down in second with Berger, Parrott, and Thrower inside the top 5.
And they're doing a pretty good job up front, and we're back to single file racing. It looks like, I think the outside line kind of fizzled out there, but to go back to what we were talking about, that smooth line you see Joe running. Folks, this is not a video game. This is a simulator. If you don't know how to drive a race car, it's going to be a tough ride for you in iRacing. And one of the things these guys tweak is the steering ratio. Now, a lot of guys prefer to run what we call like an 8-to-1 or a 10-to-1 ratio on plate tracks. I've never been like that. I like to run the 12-to-1, 14-to-1, and what that does, that makes it a lot easier to keep your car straight, like you see the 20 car doing. So that may be a lot of it right there. It may not be so much these guys are just nervous and all over the track. They might have a much lower steering ratio, which makes their car much more, I won't say twitchy, Brandon, but the input takes a lot less to get it to move around.
Yeah, most certainly. If we dive back to 20th right now, Bradley Walters, he's the 59 Ford. John, these guys are really starting to lose the draft here. Grant Peterson sitting in 19th. He's up almost 2.5 seconds on this 81 car, and that seems to be where, you know, we're past the lapped cars here, but these guys are really struggling here to be able to keep up with the rest of the field.
Yeah, they're stuck behind the 81 car of Tyler Granat, who was a lap down from that earlier wreck. But it's not because he's slow. They just lost a draft. And if you watch that 59 car, Brendan, he's been bumping the 81 in the turns, and that's one thing that has not changed in any of these race cars. You don't bump draft in the turn because the car is so light right there and so close to out of control already. It just takes a little bitty tap to send them out of control.
Yeah, it definitely takes a lot of trust there to be able to do that consistently. We have seen it here on this platform, but you're absolutely right. You start doing that with somebody who you don't have any rapport with, it can get quite dangerous. And of course, you know, the 81 car doing the best that he can to be able to push this pace as much as he can. I wonder if the 59 car, if these guys are allowed to talk in the voice chat to each other, or if it's only team chat in the Discord. But I wonder if that 59 car is eventually going to sit there and say, hey guys, let's get this high side going. We got to get around this 81 car.
Well, you know something I also just saw on the 59 car there, Brendan, he's got some back end damage. Looks like somebody pole drove him there. I mean, he's got a pretty big bend in the back bumper that may be affecting his overall speed. That's something I noticed with the next gen car is it doesn't take a whole lot of aerodynamic damage to slow you down on these plate tracks, but they are in about a 5, 6, 7, 8 car pack, and you're right, they're just dropping like a rock right now from that front pack.
Yeah, and we have Tim Henderson, the 38 Ford. He's with Joseph Cossey, it looks like, in the 88, and these guys are kind of all by themselves as well. They're 17 seconds behind Robert Pettengale and Jeffrey Brogdon, and they're in front of Tyler Granat by about 30 seconds. So these two drivers kind of all by themselves right here.
Yeah, and that's not a good feeling when it's just the two of you and you're trying to stay on the lead lap. But if you could look at the timing, they're already a half a lap down. So they're going to pick up the pace. There goes the 11 car of Jeffrey Brogdon getting passed by these two. I'm not sure why he's all by himself all of a sudden. But that's what we talked about at the top of the show there, B. You can't lose a draft here. When you lose the draft, you're done. Your day is over with. Well, yeah, I shouldn't say over with, but you're gonna need a caution to fix it.
Yeah, fair enough. It looked like Tyler actually had made his way down pit road. I think that's why he's all by himself. So he might have been taking care of some things damage-wise or whatnot. But we've only had one caution here tonight. We've been green flag racing for quite some time. And right now, I think we're just trying to see when this mold is going to break up front. The 13 machine still leading this race. It's still the 12 car behind him. The 2 Monster Energy car as well in third. And right now up front, it's really hard for these drivers to contend for any of these positions up front.
It really is. I mean, there's really no outside line. You've got to have a lot of help. We've already seen that as an example when Joseph Joe and those guys were on the outside. He had an 8-car line behind him, and they just couldn't get anything to go, man. It's an unfortunate product, I think, of this aerodynamic package, Brandon, but like I said, well, nobody heard it other than you and me, but this car is going to go through some changes before the actual NASCAR season starts. We know that. They've already talked about a horsepower change. They've said, hey, this is the horsepower we're going for on this track, so that's going to happen. So iRacing is going to implement these changes as they come out in real life, and it could hopefully give us a better package when we come back to Daytona later on in the year.
Yeah, and they're making some changes to the spoilers as well, depending on what tracks they go to. So kind of adding and playing around with the aerodynamics there. So something certainly to look forward to for the leagues that have already made the jump to the next gen cars, and maybe the leagues that are a little hesitant on it. Once those updates start pouring out to iRacing in this platform, then I would assume the majority of the leagues will be making their way to the next gen, because it's inevitable. This is the future of stock car racing.
It absolutely is, and it's actually a really good car. Don't get me wrong. I hope I'm not sounding too negative about this vehicle. It's a fantastic package. It really is. I've raced 1.5 miles. I've raced 2-mile tracks, and believe it or not, I did a race in this thing on Rockingham, Brandon. It was a blast. This car, it catches itself from the spin a lot easier. But hey, let's talk about something real quick. If you folks watching at home want to get on the Cup action you're seeing here on screen, L-TAC is currently recruiting for a Wednesday night truck series. Sessions are at 7:30 Central, 8:30 p.m. Eastern on a weekly basis. They will be running a 25-week schedule that will run alongside the Cup series. Perform well in the trucks, and you could get invited to race in the Friday Night Cup series, which is what you're watching right now. To sign up, go to the L-TAC Racing League Truck Series page on iRacing, or talk to Nolan J. Rimple. That's L-TAC, TAC Racing League on the iRacing page, or look for Nolan J. Rimple.
Yeah, and what a great feeder series that'll be on Wednesday nights with the Gander trucks.
All those trucks are fun, B.
Yeah, here we go, though, with our first
pit
round of green flag pit stops. And you see the 12 car coming in hot. He's got to be careful.
Oh, my God. Look at this, man. They just got all bunched up right there. My gosh. I didn't expect them to be in this soon, but we are on lap 31, coming to 32 right here. So it might have been planned this way, bud. That's like, what, 25 laps on the green?
Yeah, and we'll see the race off of pit road here. Mario Lapinta came in as the race leader. He throws that over to Hunter Thrower for the moment, who stayed out with a handful of guys. And here comes the 12 car. He came in pit road hot, slammed on his brakes. I don't think he got a penalty. We see him take off pit road, the advantage.
Now, we saw a bunch of 2-tire pit stops also just now, and these guys topped off their tanks. But, man, Mario Lapinta, he came in first, and he's going to come out probably 15th and 16th, it looks like, man.
Yeah, Logan Hamilton taking care of business on that green flag pit stop. You see him with a very favorable gap between himself, Colin Stone, Jeremy Berger, who's been in that Monster Energy car. So right now, representing the Tucson Sound Art paint scheme there, it's Logan Hamilton, currently 11th, but of course, as we shuffle through these green flag pit stops, putting himself in a position, if we stay green, to be able to take over. But John, look at him, he's stuck on the outside.
Yeah, he is stuck on the outside, and he's going to go.
Oh,
wow, that was a brave move right there. That could have gone very badly for him, cutting down in front of that car like that. That car that he cut off was Joseph Joe. I guess Joseph saw that coming and brake checked a little, not brake checked, but pumped the brakes a little bit there, Brandon.
Yeah, we had Steve Purcell in the 57 car actually get airborne. All 4 tires. He ran into the infield there coming off of pit road, and he was doing some 4x4 action there. So that was pretty cool to see. I don't know if the producer can get a shot of that. Again, that's the 57 Toyota going for a jump there. But that's a couple of cars here with some awkward moments. And I'm wondering if that 12 machine of Logan Hamilton did get a speeding penalty, John, and if he was just conceding the lead, knowing that he's got to come back down pit road.
That might be the case.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at that. Coming off pit road here, John, and it looks like maybe getting on the yellow line. Yep, getting a little bit sideways. He did a good job overall of keeping control.
Oh, wow. I'm going to be honest with you, Brandon. He's going to have damage from that. That's something that iRacing has been great about modeling with this new package, is a realistic damage model. And in real life, when you hit that concrete sidewalk in the infield Daytona, it'll rip the front end off the car. We've seen it live happen in the Xfinity Series, the Truck Series, and the Cup Series before. So that's going to affect his car, I guarantee it. He's going to have a problem getting around this track fast with that kind of damage.
Yeah, shout out to the producer there digging that up. But back up front, the 12 car of Logan Hamilton, what I thought, because he was clearly in the lead, and now, yes, the drivers behind him, the 43 of Colin Stone and Berger we talked about, they were going to get a run on him, but, you know, he moved up. He allowed those drivers a clean pass next to them, and he hasn't coming down pit road yet. You called it out. He got in front of that 20 car of Joseph in a wild fashion, if you will, but he's in 4th place now, and it doesn't look like he's going to be coming down pit road.
No, he came in on, he pitted on lap 32 with the rest of those guys. So once the 3 in front of him who have not pitted yet come in, he is going to take over the lead. And it looks like our former leader of Mario LaPinta is 7 seconds behind these guys. Wow. Kyle Green, Holden McGill, Dingler in the 8 car. All those guys are way back there. These green flag pit stops are great for that, Brandon. They really tend to separate the field, spread everybody out. So that's kind of a breath. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, my issue is these 3 cars in front of him have come down pit road. I'm pretty sure. The Jeremy Bergers, the Colin Stone, and Stephen Perry.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, they did. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, the 12 car. Yeah, no, you're fine. He had a heck of a pit stop, came off pit road, leading that pack. And then when the 43 car of Colin Stone, who's now the race leader, was coming up, Logan Hamilton, in the 12, he kind of shifted up and allowed those 3 cars to pass.
Well, you know, he knows it's a long race and probably didn't see any sense in getting up in front of somebody that appeared to be coming on that fast to him. So,
Fair enough.
you know, and look at the bright side. Right now he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's 4th in the pack of 7 cars, and they are so far out in front of everybody else that he's got time to kind of calculate, if you will, and maybe communicate with the guys behind him about maybe trying the outside line here in a little while and see what happens.
Yeah, good call on that one. Now, it is important to note, you are right, there is about 7 cars in that first pack. However, Joseph in 5th is the last car on the lead lap in that pack. If you go back to Kyle Green, he's in the 18 Toyota. He's currently marked 6th behind Joseph, but John, an 8-second gap between this 4-car pack and those leaders up front.
Yeah, we just touched on that a couple laps ago, and it was only 7 seconds back then. So you see a substantial difference when you've got, 7 cars up here, and I'm guessing there must be a couple of lap cars in there with them because, yeah, I'm guessing there's. I'm starting to figure out who it is though. Interesting, because what I'm seeing the 7-car pack, but if you look at timing, there's only 5 cars up there running together.
Yeah, that's correct. Logan Hamilton, Joseph are 4th and 5th. And then there's 2 cars behind them. You have the 83 car.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Of Hunter Thrower. And you have the 7. I'm not too sure who the 7 is, but Hunter Thrower certainly in that 83. And now they're starting to build some distance between
That's
them.
Connor LaFrance. He's in his number's 10 in scoring, but he's got a 7 on his car.
Okay, fair enough. So, but now we're starting to see these 5 cars that are on lead lap, starting with Colin Stone, Berger, Parrott, Hamilton, and Joseph. Now even starting to pull away from those 2 cars now. So this 5-car pack certainly steamrolling right now. It looks like Joseph has built that 8-second gap between himself and Kyle Green again, who is in 6th place. You see the 7 almost going all the way down to that yellow line. The 83 car working on some side drafting there on the outside, came a little bit too close to comfort.
Yeah, those 2 cars are actually fighting for the lucky dog. If there's a car that comes out and they're not in it, one of those 2 will get the lucky dog, and they do not want to lose this lead pack right here, Brandon. They're already a lap down, but they're right there on the tail end of the 5 cars that are on the, at the front of the pack. So they need to hang on there as long as they can. And if I'm that 48 car, I'm sorry, 83, I see lows, I think 48 automatically. But if I'm back there in Hunter Thrower's position, I do not want that 7 car to get too far behind. As we see, they suck back up now, and that's good. Yeah, they're going to try and hang on right there for that lucky dog if they can.
Well, and as you said, these guys don't want to lose that draft because they don't want to fall back and have to race more people for that lucky dog. But also the 20 of Joseph, he wants to see those guys bunch up and help him as well, especially if he ever gets to a point where, hey, he might want to pop outside. Even though those cars are not on lead lap, they can still play a big part in what that 20 car does.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not saying they're useless, not at all. Just because they're lapped down, that probably means they had something happen on pit road, is my guess, because they were on the lead lap prior. And as we see, oh, wow, look at the nose damage on the 88 right there. So that explains a lot of why he was so far behind to begin with. I kind of wonder if he's not the one that got in the back of the 59. He's got nose damage, the 59's got back end damage. So that might have been what happened, who knows. But I tell you what, this is shaping up to be a kind of a runaway race for the top 5. I mean, here we are, lap 42 coming to 43 next time by, just a few laps shy of halfway. We know, well, I guess we know now, that they're only going about 19, 20 laps on fuel. So I'm sure we're going to see some more green flag pit stops, Brandon. And I'm just wondering how much more spread out the field's going to be at the end of that cycle.
Yeah, and of course, still very viable that there is another caution or 2, especially the later that we get into this race. Right now, where we currently sit, it does help that these cars are so spread out, and pretty much every pack is single file. That definitely lessens the chances of a caution coming out and being thrown, because right now, there's a bunch of packs who are about 5, 6 cars deep, racing each other, rather than if we had 15, 20 cars all bunched up.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I'm noticing on timing here, Brandon? Those guys back there, Kyle Green, Olin McGill, Mario Lapinta, the guy who led most of this race, started on pole tonight. They've actually made up a little bit of time on this front pack. Now the front pack just gained a couple more lap cars, so and we touched on this earlier in the show, the more cars you have in your pack, the faster you'll actually get around this track. So they were making up time, but now we'll see if that holds, because they've only got 4 cars in their pack.
Yeah, a little over a half a second. That's actually a good call there, being led by Kyle Green. You have Holden McGill back there, Mario Lapinta, as you said, Ryan Dingler as well. That's the 4 cars right there that are running 6 through 10 right there, or 6 through 9th, if you will, trying to do everything they can to catch up to that front pack. But right now, there's really nobody in front of them, nobody behind them. There is 1 car not on the lead lap, but he's starting to drift away a little bit as well from there. In fact, he's checking up high right now. So they're doing the best they can to try to catch up there. But right now, like we talked about, there's a couple of different packs out there, and everybody's kind of just in cruise control right now.
Yeah, cruise control is probably the best way to describe what we're seeing. Now, we're back up front, and we see that the 3 cars that were hanging on to the back of this front pack started racing each other, and look what happened there, Brandon. They've already dropped back a substantial amount. If I had to guess, I'd say it's at least about a half a second to a second, and they're dropping back even more now. And that's what we were talking about. You can't afford to do that. They should have just stayed in line.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially, at this current time in the race.
Oh, they're wrecking. Oh, wow, they both hit the wall so hard. I can't believe that they didn't lose control right there. Did the caution come out? Yep, the caution came out.
Yeah, second caution of the night here. John on top of the call. We'll get the replay here for you guys momentarily. Yep, there it is right there.
Yeah, right as they crossed the start-finish line, they got into each other right there.
Now, interesting to note, it doesn't look like there was any severe damage. I'm sure if there is a fast repair, both those drivers will be inclined to come down pit road and take them. But nobody showed up in the red for me here on my timing. So, yeah, we saw it. There was contact there. The yellow did come out, but hopefully for them and the rest of the field, it doesn't seem like it was anything too serious.
Yeah, I mean, Causey already had damage, so I don't know what happened if he's already used up his fast repair or just didn't use it at all, last pit stop. But we'll see what happens with him. We got Colin Stone up front, though. All these guys have caught the pace car on the backstretch coming out, too. And what do you think, B? Are we going to see some pit stops here?
Yeah, I think we will. I mean, I don't think these guys have a whole lot of fuel to work with. Maybe working in that, I would say at max 60% is what I'd like to say. We've already seen them come down pit road twice. It's a 100-lap race. So that's where I would put it at. We'll see. I think maybe if you come down pit road right now, I mean, what lap are we at right now?
47.
So 47. I mean, you're looking at coming down pit road once more for sure anyway. So I would say maybe come down pit road now, try to extend that as long as possible, and then maybe catch a late race caution to come down and top off.
Yeah, they're going to definitely have to pit at least one more time between now and the checker flag. That's that much I'm fairly positive on. Here we go. Pit stops are happening. Everybody comes down, but I think, yeah, lap car stayed out there. Wow, look at that. Nice long train of pit stops coming.
Hey, and you know what? It couldn't have came at a better time for some of those drivers that you and I pointed out that were really starting to fall off there. I mean, it was the top 5 cars up front really starting to pull away from the rest of the field. We saw that second pack of drivers that were 6th through 9th, and then everybody else was a couple of seconds behind those guys. So it gives us a little bit of a chance, regroup these guys up, bunch them up, get them back to 2 wide. And right now we're about halfway through the race. We might start seeing some aggressiveness coming out of these drivers.
We might indeed. And I was watching some of these guys on pit road, Brandon, and once again, it's a full tank, 2 tires. Those left side tires the right side tires are the ones that were changed. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. When I race plate tracks, I hardly ever change my tires unless I get spun. I definitely change them. But these guys elected to take 2 left side tires. Sorry, I did it again. Right side tires. And we'll see how that pays off for him. It looks like Colin's going to maintain his lead there, though.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. I mean, at most tracks, you are worried about tire wear among, with your fuel as well. But with the super speedways, with the high bankings, you're not really beating up the tires there. You're not as concerned, and that does open up the door for some guys to come down pit road and just worry about the 2 right side tires. And we've seen plenty of that strategy here tonight. We'll see how it plays off for some of these drivers in the end. I think obviously, the biggest advantage on a caution pit stop, John, is the obvious track position. You're taking 2, the guy in front of you, if he takes 4, you're miles ahead of him off pit road.
Absolutely. I mean, 1 second on pit road, even under caution here at Daytona, is going to cost you probably 2 or 3 spots. Under green, oh my gosh, you're looking at probably 10 to 12 spots. So definitely going 1 to green here. Don't forget, folks, this is the Tucson Sound Art 250 that you're watching. Tucson Sound Art. Pretty good concept, I think, Brandon. I'm actually kind of interested in this. I went by the website and checked it out while we were under caution that last time by. www.tucsonart.com. And folks, what they'll do is I said Tucson Sound Art, didn't I? Yeah, okay. What they'll do is they'll take a picture of yours or art piece of yours, or you can select from their wide selection of art pieces. They'll turn it into a picture that produces sound using speakers that are Bluetooth connected back there in the back of the picture. It's a pretty cool concept, I think, man. I like to stare at art sometimes when I'm, about 6 cups into my Jack Daniels and Coke. And, now I can combine that with music and nobody will know the difference.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool concept as well. Obviously, heavily involved in the sim racing community with it being here at the L-TAC Cup Series, but I've called other leagues where the Tucson Sound Art were involved with that as well. So not only a cool product, but obviously a company that takes pride and is heavily involved in the sim racing world. That alone deserves at least a peek at the
Absolutely.
website.
Absolutely, man. So what you gonna buy me? I'll tell you what, I'll send you a picture of my car that I race and you can buy me that. You and Jeff. You and Jeff can pitch in, man. That'd be cool. And for the music, I would
Well,
like something like the Daytona theme song from Days of Thunder. That'd be awesome.
so our second caution of the night is let us hear. We're back filed 2x2. The Ford Mustang pace car is off the track, and it is going to be Colin Stone on the outside in the 43, taking the green flag. The 12 of Logan Hamilton, quick on the jump as well. Dives down in front of the 2 of Jeremy Berger. Those are going to be your top 3, with the 45 of Stephen Parrott and the 92 of Barrick Uphold going into turn 1 solo as your top 5.
I'll tell you what, that looked a lot like some teammates working together on that restart right there. I'd be interested to see if those guys are talking to each other. Just the way that worked out with, jumping out to the lead and let the guy slide down and whatnot. But here we go, back to single file racing. We talked about this, Brandon. This is about the only way we're going to get these guys bunched back up again was a caution, and it did it. So now we're going to see how they cope with this. We go back to green at lap 50, so we'll look for one more set of pit stops, probably around, what do you think, 70, 75?
Yeah, I think that's a safe number here, but now's the time. I know it's still early, right? We're halfway through the race, and sometimes at most tracks, you're like, I'll wait till lap 80, lap 90, then I really need to be aggressive. But right now, what we've seen and what this package provides is right now, halfway through the race, I think you really got to start getting going. You got to communicate with your teammates. Now is not the time to sit back and try to avoid anything, because eventually with this package, you hang back long enough to where you hung back out of the race. There's no contention towards the end.
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head right there, bud. We saw that. We've already seen that in this race where some guys were trying to play it safe back there in the tail end of a pack, and they lost the pack. And you're right. I mean, we're 50 laps into this race, 50 to go. So we know that passing on here is going to be difficult, to say the least. You're going to have a lot of help. And you're going to have to do it on the outside, apparently, because there's no room down there on the low side to do it. So, yeah, you're right. It might be time to start talking to your teammates, getting a plan together, and figuring out how you're going to get around these cars in front of you.
On board with the 20 of Joseph. Joseph, he's behind the 3 car of Nate Brooker, sitting back there in 8th place. I'm not too sure that 20 car has really been outside of the top 10 here tonight, having a strong Daytona. And it looks like we got another yellow flag. Grant Peterson, Tim Henderson involved in this. Matt Rucci, I think. And once again, a familiar name, Tyler Greneau, wrapped up in this as well.
Boy, Tyler just can't catch a break tonight at all, poor guy. Let's see.
Yeah, it looks like it starts with Bradley Walters here, the 59 car, just getting onto the rear end of the 23. Actually gets on the left corner panel. Oh, and the 23 sends him flying.
Wow. Wow. It's good. The kick is up, and it's good through the goalposts. Wow, man. Well, I sure hope that guy in the 59's got a fix-it lift, because he's going to need it. Let's see if we can get an in-car. And let's see if we can ride along, folks, with the 59 as he goes for this loop. Now, if you suffer from motion sickness, I apologize. You're probably going to want to look away for a minute. So right about here, you got to know, Brandon, that things are not going your way.
Well, yeah, I mean...
Oh my gosh, man. I think I spilled
what a wild
beer.
ride. Could you imagine if that poor soul was racing in VR?
Oh, dude, I race in VR. It's not fun. Trust me. It's not fun at all. Yes, sir. I use an Oculus Quest 2 when I race, Brandon, and the immersion factor in VR is just unbelievable. Especially at moments like that when you're flying through the air at 180 miles an hour, end over end over end. over end. My wife says apparently I screamed like a little girl.
Do you guys remember? And hopefully I'm not wrong, but if I am, correct me. Was it the Cars of Tomorrow that had those hood flaps that, when a car started to spin out, those hood flaps would open up?
Yeah,
And I think,
they all still do actually. Yeah.
well, what was wrong with that car that made it so those cars used to just go airborne at a moment's
Well,
notice?
actually, it actually started way back, believe it or not, in the early 80s. We had several cars, the older Monte Carlo types, especially guys like, gosh, dog it, his name was right, Cale Yarborough, that's it. And the Hardy's car, his car got backwards in a qualifying lap at Daytona, flew up into the grandstand, well, not into the grandstand, but into the catch fence, right? So NASCAR starts looking at ways to slow these cars down and prevent them from getting that out of shape like that. You had Ricky Rudd's infamous incident in 1984 at the duels. You've probably seen the replay 1,000 times. He got airborne, flipped numerous times, hit the concrete wall. I mean, just horrible things. So NASCAR started looking at ways to slow these cars down. That's where the restrictor plates came from. Okay, that was the first step. But we still had an issue with the cars getting airborne. So I believe in 94, 95 with the Luminas, right before they went full time to the Monte Carlo again, they introduced roof flaps. And the design of the roof flap, what happens is when a car gets turned around, the air gets underneath it and provides lift. It gets it up in the air. So the roof flaps, what they do is when the car gets turned around, the air comes through that window, those side windows, and it pops those up, and it forces that car back down on the ground. It breaks up the lift that's being provided by the air coming the wrong way on the car. So all the cars since then have had them. Sometimes they deploy, sometimes they don't. Just depends on how much air is getting pushed through the car at the time. They got the roof flaps now. They've got flaps and louvers on these new cars. I don't know if we can see it too well in this shot right here of the front of a car. If you can get me that real quick, Mr. Producer Guy. If you look right there, that's a great shot. That Toyota Camry, those rough edges right there, those are actually holes in the car. Those louvers prevent air from doing crazy things that they used to do. They have also shown the car that's going to have a hole in the windshield where it says Cup Series on that front windshield. The new cars, when they start racing in February, are going to have a hole cut out right there to provide airflow through the car also. So a lot of unique things there, Brandon, taking place with this new car to help keep these guys on the ground. But in iRacing, anything can happen, man.
They forgot the memo there on that one, because every time we've had a caution here tonight, it's been a car that is just absurdly in the air there doing an Austin Dillon imitation there, if you will. But I think, you talked about it about a quarter of the way through the race. We had seen an individual try to bump draft, and I think he tried it maybe once or twice, then he backed off there. And that's what we saw right there. We just saw a ton of momentum of the car that was from behind, and he went up there. And I just don't think he realized how much momentum he had. And at the point of contact, he was just going so fast, and it just really started to send both cars.
Yeah, and that's a bit of a problem with racing at Daytona, Talladega, probably since, I want to say the COT car. It was when we really started to notice it, and possibly the 2001 editions of the Monte Carlos and Impalas that came out after that. The bumpers don't line up with each other very well. Now, with this new car, that shouldn't be too big of a problem, is what they're saying. In real life, they line up pretty good. They're all pretty square and whatnot. But for a while, we had those round noses. So when a round nose hit that back bumper, which was square and actually was kind of higher, it moved that car a lot more, which is when you saw stuff go wrong in the turns. So a lot of drivers like, dude, don't touch me going through a turn. My car is very unbalanced right there. And sometimes on a straightaway, if you hit them far enough to the left or right, you can spin them. So
I had to do a quick Google search there. It wasn't the roof flaps that wasn't the problem. Remember they added that weird wing to those cars. Remember that?
Yes, God, that wing. That wing caused more issues back then. You're right. You're absolutely right. It did the exact opposite of what they thought it would do. As soon as the car got turned around, with that wing on there, it was going up no matter what.
Yeah, shout out to Google search engines there. I remember it was something, and I remember because a lot of drivers, you know, they didn't want it. But anyways, back to the present here. We are back under green flag conditions, and Colin Stone is still the race leader, being followed by Logan Hamilton, who has just been having a phenomenal race here tonight. Both those drivers able to find 5 spots apiece, running 1-2 right now. Stephen Parrott in third. Jeremy Berger running fourth. Joseph finally in the green on the plus side as far as positions gained. He's up from 8th all the way up to 5th. Kyle Green, who, by the way, Kyle Green is that driver whose number got called in that lucky draw. So if he's able to win this race, he'll get the 3 extra bonus points. Our pole sitter here tonight, ever since that first under caution the first green flag pit stop, has lost 6 spots, and he's back in 7th place right now. He led the majority of the opening laps here, but right now Mario Lapinta, again, who started in first, trying to climb his way back up to the top.
Not doing too bad. He's back there in 7th. I mean, but that's 6 cars he's going to have to pass to get the lead, and we've already seen passing is not easy here. But you know what I want to give a shout-out to real quick, Brandon, is Tyler Butcher Benjamin. This guy started dead last in the field, has worked his way up to 8th place. That's 24 spots he's earned that he's passed up on track here one way or another. So shout out to Tyler for doing a good job tonight. See if he can't keep that momentum up, make himself a W.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, 24 spots. You're absolutely right. He did start dead last coming in here tonight. He missed the Daytona duels on Wednesday and made sure he showed up on time here tonight. And 24 spots, I mean, cautions or not, to be able to make sure you are involved in those cautions, making the right decisions down pit road, and now with the potential to finish in a top 10 in the opening race. I mean, what a phenomenal job by that one car.
Absolutely, and I tell you, I mean, here we are at lap 60. I mean, lap 61 next time by, and all he has to do really is just kind of hang on to where he's at and see what happens up front. You know, when I'm racing play tracks, that's actually where I want to be about 10 laps in, is somewhere from 3rd to about 6th or 7th, you know, because I know the guys in front of me are going to get stupid crazy somewhere on the track, and I'm hoping that I can get through that and have enough people behind me pushing me to take that. Oh, we got another caution on track.
Yeah, it looks like Frank Flores, the 3rd, wrapped up in this one. Not too sure who else is. He's the first and only name to pop up right now. We'll get a replay to you guys here as soon as possible. So let's go ahead and take a look at what happened here. We finally get some 2-wide action.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, there's some heavy damage on Frank's car there. He's the 23 car, and you see the 11 Interstate pretty banged up as well. I think that's Jeffrey Brogdon. Yes, it is. And, you know, we've seen that here a couple of times here tonight. The car just, you know, one driver getting a really good run. Obviously, he's not trying to wipe anybody out or spin anybody out, but they get a really good run, and the drive, you know, and then the 2 fenders collide. I mean, whether it's somebody coming down or somebody coming up, or maybe both drivers are assuming that they're clear and they want to work with the draft together, but obviously they're not clear, and we've seen 2 cautions because of that.
Yes, we have, and I mean, it's a product, unfortunately, of plate track racing, Brandon. It seems like it's always been that way since I can remember, and I just don't see it ever changing. You know, it's just once one car gets messed up and sideways, it's usually going to take a few cars with him. Man, I'm looking at the damage on this poor guy, the 23 car, Frank Flores, and I mean, he has no front end left. He looks like a little modified out there.
Yeah, absolutely, and you're right. And you know, now a couple of these drivers gonna have to come down pit road and get some repairs made. We see the leaders coming in. Colin Stone leading that pack to come down pit road, and you know, we made it a pretty good distance from the last caution. So these drivers coming down, they're going to get some fuel. We'll be able to see now if they play their cards right, is this going to be the last pit stop for fuel?
I don't think it can be. We're still 37 laps from the end of this race, and I mean, I think they're only going 22 laps on fuel. So if my calculations are right, they're definitely gonna have to stop one more time. But I did notice just now that there was gas only on that stop, Brandon. Nobody took tires.
All righty. Coming down, getting their fuel every chance they can get, and I got a feeling this race gonna come down to the wire. Right now, the second half of this race pretty much been dominated by Colin Stone in the 43, but we did see some cars decide not to come down for the fuel. Holden McGill in the 21 Chevrolet, followed by Ryan Dingler, Anthony Musati, Matt Rucci, and Grant Peterson, all deciding to stay out and obviously try to gain some valuable track position, knowing, hey, we're probably gonna have to come down pit road anyways.
Yeah,
later in the race, I mean.
Oh, my bear with me, Brandon. I just lost my broadcast.
So as he pulls that back up, we see both the Fanatec cars up front, and it's Anthony Musati running the Thrustmaster paint scheme here tonight. And just like IRL, it's the Thrustmaster trying to chase down Fanatec. Obviously, one being superior to the other.
I'm back.
All right, good to have you back there.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Almost lost my partner there.
Yeah, I don't know what I hit, man, but everything just shut down. That was awesome. So we're getting ready to go back to green here, it looks like. Like you said, we got some race wheel guys up front. I see two Fanatec cars. McGill and Dingler.
Two Fanatec's followed by a Thrustmaster. He's going to be starting third, and then there's another Fanatec car sitting in fifth.
I'm guessing those guys must all be teammates, the Fanatec guys.
Oh, I'm sure.
That's what I got. I got a Fanatec. That's what I use, man. I love it. I had a G27 for years, man. And before that, I had a Momo. I've been doing sim racing, Brandon, since the Papyrus series back in '95. Showing my age.
Quite a long time, yeah. No.
Yeah, showing my age there.
Well, you got to play NASCAR 2K3, which I hear is to this day like just a really superior sim.
If you ever get a chance to watch it or see videos of it, you'll see a lot of similarities between that and iRacing, and that's because Dave Kamer and those guys that created that sim back then are the ones that gave us iRacing. Long story behind that. Maybe one day we'll go over that, but it's a very interesting history of sim racing that took place between the Papyrus series and now. And I mean, interesting to me anyway, but I'm a big old nerd, so that's
now those guys reuniting here with iRacing, making a couple of purchases on the down low. Pace car off though. We're gonna get back to green flag racing. Holden McGill in the 21, gonna be the new race leader. Ryan Dingler on the inside there. He's not gonna get a run on Ryan. He's gonna let his teammates top down low. Yep,
yeah,
exactly.
I think that was a teammate thing right there.
Yep.
Now, did you notice that front end damage on Dingler? I just saw that just now. I don't know where he got that damage from, but I'm not sure he realized he's got it. But that's one thing I have noticed about this car, Brandon, is just the slightest bit of damage on the front end, either the fenders or the nose of this car, really does affect the aerodynamics of the vehicle. Like it makes it a little tight sometimes. But I mean, behind the car, it shouldn't be that big of a deal to him. Of course, he's got to be worried about overheating now too. These cars love to overheat, man.
These cars are very fragile, I feel like.
Yeah, you can say that, yeah. I mean, maybe fragile is not the right word, but on a plate track, it's, aerodynamics is so important, especially in real life, but in sim racing as well. Just the tiniest bit of aerodynamic damage could really ruin your day. If you get on the back end, causing that fender to flare out, it's like a parachute back there, man. And you'll feel it. I mean, all of a sudden, as soon as we go to full speed from a caution, you're not doing 180 or 190. You're doing like 160, and you don't know why, because you can't tell what you got going on back there. But look at that single file line again. We talked about that at the top of the show. This is what's going to happen for a few more laps. I think. What are we at? Lap 66 here. And we probably won't see anybody getting crazy with the passing attempts until maybe another 5 or 10 laps.
Yeah, and same story here. Like you said, a lot of these cars finding themselves single file once again. The outside line really just doesn't carry enough momentum to exist very long, but at least we got some things to shake up this time. We have a new race leader, Ryan Dingler, Matt Rucci, Anthony Massotti, throwing their name into the mix here now, running up front for the first time this evening. In fact, Holden McGill up 19 spots, Ryan Dingler up 21, and Matt Rucci up 28 total spots, hanging out there in that third spot.
Yeah, I mean that's he started right back there with Taylor. I mean he started 31st, so he was right there at the back of the pack, and finds himself now running in third spot. And that's what you do, man. If you have a hard time passing during the race, you do it on pit road or you do it under caution when you can. So they took a gamble, these guys did, and find themselves up front now. And we'll see if they can do something with this as the time goes by, Brendan. We'll see.
Yeah, my only question is, or my only concern is, it's going to take something drastic for this to change, right? And the deeper that we get into the race, the desperation starts to kick in. What is it truly going to take to get that high side to work, or for some of these drivers to be able to make that move? I feel like the only way that's going to be able to do that is going to be trouble for somebody else, right? The guy that's trying to make the move is going to be trouble for the guy in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting to look like that, and I hate to say that. I hate to see that, to be honest with you. I prefer watching these guys pass each other clean, but from what we've seen the first 69 laps of this race, passing is rare, if non-existent right now, other than moving a guy out of the way, or the guys in front of you having an issue or something like that, or, a caution flag pit stop goes wrong for the guy in front of you. About one of the few ways that you get any passing done in this race tonight, which is unfortunate. I don't want to see guys get wrecked. I don't want to see somebody move somebody out of the way. But then again, if you're trying to win a race, buddy, you do what you got to do, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and especially the first race of the season here at Daytona really sets the pace for yourself moving forward. You're trying to build that momentum. Why not start here on week one? So as we sit back and watch these drivers make their way towards the end of this race, we are going to have to wait and see how this is going to play out.
So if my calculations are right, and we know they have to make one more pit stop because they're only getting 22, 25 laps on fuel, something like that, I would be willing to bet that sometime around lap 75 to lap 79, we're going to see some people start ducking in for fuel on the basis that they're thinking it's going to go green through us. My goodness, back there in the back of the pack. I'm sorry, Brandon. I saw somebody get a little out of shape and jump up in front of somebody there. That could have been bad.
Yeah, really could have, and lap 70 here, 30 laps to go, and you're right. I think, once we start getting into these green flag pit stops, assuming that it does, who knows? We might get another caution right at that sweet spot where drivers can come down one last time. But if we do have a green flag pit stop, we'll really start to see what teammates have practiced the pit entries together, the pit exits, and really who's going to work together and who's kind of out there just winging it.
Now, we saw one green flag pit stop area, and you touched on something really brilliant, is getting into pit road. We saw a couple of guys have an issue with that. Somebody got a speeding penalty. I don't remember who it was, but that entrance is so tricky on Daytona's pit entrance. It comes up so fast, it seems like, and we saw it. Somebody came in a little too hot, locked his brakes up, wound up getting a speeding penalty. So yeah, you're right. That's going to be interesting to see is these guys, if they do a green flag pit stop, are they able to get into and off of pit road without sliding or wrecking?
Yeah, and certainly, when you do come down pit road, you want as many cars to come join you as possible. I mean, if you have just one teammate with you, okay, now you're just a two-car tandem. You really want to try to position yourself to where there's 5, 6, maybe 7 cars coming down pit road at the same time so that you don't lose that benefit of having the draft.
Yeah, lose your buddy. That's what it comes down to here pretty soon is, Who's with you? Who's in front of you? Who's behind you? Can you trust them? You know, I don't know if you've ever listened in on pit stop calls when they come in, but you'll have a guy, he says, look, I'm going all the way to the wall because I'm right here at the end of pit road. Or there's another guy who says, I'm going to stay out all the way to the right because I'm further down. So you'll hear a lot of that kind of communication from these guys as they start to get ready for these pit stops, because that makes it easier for them not to run each other over as they come into pit road.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything playing a factor into that. There are a lot of experienced sim racers in here, though, but you are right. You know, when you come off of turn 4 there, as we get a nice little shot of where pit road stands there is plenty of time to be able to make that call on if you're coming down pit road for sure when you come off of turn 4. The problem is you're still going pretty speedy off of turn 4 on your way to pit road, and you might sit there and think to yourself, well, I got plenty of time, I can slow down, you know, give me another 100 feet and I'll start slowing down. Well, these stock cars, they got big brakes, but they're not that big.
No, they're really not. And it also, I found this out just today, as a matter of fact, it also depends on your sim racing setup. I've been racing with the same pedal setup for years, man. And Fanatec came out with a driver, so I downloaded the drivers and updated everything, and all of a sudden my brake pedal does not stop me nearly as fast as it used to. It's more realistic now, but it completely caught me off guard as I was racing the 87 car at Talladega, and I came off the turn for green flag pit stop, and I hit pit road doing 100 miles an hour, man. I was like, wait a minute. So yeah, a lot of that has to do with how you set up your sim pedals. You can set them up realistically, meaning that it takes a lot of push to get that brake to function the way you need it to, or you can set it up as it comes out of the box where it doesn't take a whole lot of effort at all to stop the car, just kind of like a driver's preference really.
Yeah, I think a lot of old heads, you know, that primarily do oval racing, you know, they have some of the most simplest sim racing equipment out there, and yet they're the guys up front, right? I mean, it's all about the skill over equipment for some, and the younger generation, including myself. I'm not a younger generation, but I'm in this same category of, you know, when I joined sim racing, load cells were already a thing. You know, these high dollar drives were already a thing. There's so many apps out there that help with force feedback and crew chief helping you make the pit stops, you know, and there's so many things out there to be involved with. And I think a lot of times, you know, everybody wants the best equipment and the best apps, but sometimes it just comes down to skill.
Well, I like to say it's really a combination of both. I mean, you can have the best gear that is available in sim racing, but if you don't know how to use that gear, you don't know how to drive, you're still going to suck, you know? I do another league. I don't do it. I shouldn't say that. I broadcast another league sometimes. There's a guy in there who's won 4 races in the season already, and he uses a controller, Brandon, a freaking Xbox controller. I mean, that's insane to me. You know,
shout out.
That's nuts.
Shout out to that guy.
And he does it with super late models, brother. I mean, jeez.
That's pretty insane.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that, you know, and folks, we touched on this earlier. This is not a game. It's really a simulator. You really do know how to, in fixed setup leagues, not so much, but you got to know how to set a race car up. You've got to know what those setups are going to do to the car. Look at this, Brandon. We're seeing it now. We're seeing guys going too wide, trying to make something happen there. Wow, that was a little sooner than I expected, but it's good to see. They're kind of sitting back there watching these guys go. We're inside of 22 laps now, before this race is over. So here we go, brother. We got somebody up on the outside. Who is that? That is
that's Colin Stone there.
Yeah, it's Colin Stone back there.
Yeah, he's got Logan Hamilton, the 45 of Stephen Parrott. These guys, and the 2 car, by the way, of Jeremy Berger. Throw Joseph in the mix as well. These guys were the ones that were leading the race before that last pit stop. And here we go. We're pretty wide at Daytona, nearly.
Luzzati thought about jumping up there and throwing the block on Stone. Stone said, no, sir. Get back down there where you were at. Shuts the door on him and did not lose a bit of momentum right now going through this turn right here. And it looks like they might lose just a little bit. But I tell you what, little bump in the back there. We got a car getting squirrely. They save it, stay straight. This is what we needed to see right here, man. We got good, what, 8 or 9 cars on that outside? Well, as I say that, they did down the inside.
Yeah, they start coming down there, and you said it, man. These guys really got to start committing to that stuff. I think, you know, what they're not realizing is just because you lose a little bit of time now, we still have 22, almost 21 laps to go. Here comes that first group of leaders coming down for these pit stops here.
Right at lap 79, we called that earlier, Brandon, you and I. We figured it was going to be somewhere around here. They were going to have to stop one more time. So we get these guys on pit road. We'll see if they all got woed down in time. Some of them look like they cut it pretty close there. I'm watching the 21 right now of Holden McGill. He's getting there. He looks like he's taking 4 tires.
Well, and remember, Holden McGill and the rest of the party that came down with him, those guys did not pit on that last caution. So the 43 of Colin Stone and the 12 of Logan Hamilton, this group right here, definitely have a lot more fuel than those guys. So they came down. We'll have to see how it plays out for them. Maybe we'll start seeing some shuffling there, but we really got to start seeing some guys committing to that outside line. Every time they get a run, it seems like just one little thing of, oh no, we're losing time, and they drop back down. They're gonna have to stick it out up there.
Absolutely. You know, we talked about that earlier in the show. The commitment is important because you're gonna lose a little bit of space coming out of the turns. You're gonna lose it in the middle of the turns, but you're gonna gain it back if you stay up there with your buddies. You'll gain it back. Trust me, I've seen it happen. And unfortunately, these guys they're not sticking with it. And as soon as they feel like they're going backwards, boom, they jump back down to the inside. But I stand corrected, by the way. McGill only took 2 tires. He took 2 left side tires.
Yeah, pretty much been the song here all night long. Take those 2 outside tires, top off on your fuel, and get back out there. And I'm sure we'll continue to see that as this front group of Colin Stone, Logan Hamilton, Stiff Parrott will be making their way down pit road eventually. We don't know when for these guys. But we'll see when that pit window opens up for them.
So with that pit stop, that puts Holden McGill and those guys that came in just now 36 seconds behind our leader. They're not too far in front of him, actually. So he's not too far, behind them to put them a lap down if this continues the way it's going. We're at lap 82. We got a little less than 17, a little more than 17 laps to go, I should say. Brandon, do you have a pick yet, maybe, of somebody you think might pull this off?
I think I have faith in the Fanatec guys. I think Holden McGill, Grant Peterson, Matt Rucci, Ryan Dingler, I think these guys are committed to this strategy. They came in with having a sense of when they were going to pit, particularly late into the race. You saw Musati in the Thrustmaster car. He's thrown a couple of blocks out there for these guys, and I think, coming in here tonight, they're shaping up to be. I know they're way off pace right now, but just remember, a lot of those guys up front, they're going to have to come down pit road. And I think what you'd like to see is for this to stay green if you're Holden McGill and the rest of the gang.
So now up front, I just saw something interesting happen. Joseph jumped up to the outside. Here we go. We got pit. That's what I was going to say. I think they're getting ready for pit stops because he jumped up at the outside, let these guys get away from him. So, somebody hit the commitment cone and hits another car. Oh, who was that back there? That was the 3 car of Nate Booker. First, he hit that cone, which is going to give him a penalty, and then he hit the car next to him. Yeah, he came in hot, locked his brakes up, hit the cone, and then hit the guy next to him. That's unfortunate. Like I said, that's going to cost him a penalty, too. He's going to lose a lot of time on pit road for that. But, hey, guess who's leading now?
Yeah, the 20 of Joseph. Some guys at home watching might have been waiting for this moment. Why didn't it happen sooner? But I think everybody came into Daytona ready to go, and now here comes Joseph. He's going to have Connor LaFrance coming in with him as well.
That's a great entrance right there. Real smooth. Didn't slide his tires at all. Got down to a good pit stop a good pit speed right as he crossed the commitment line there.
That's going to open it up for Tim Henderson, Richard Malugani, and there's a 3rd car with them, but I don't think it's for position. Now, if we go back to Holden McGill real quick, these guys getting this high side going, making their way around lap traffic right now. That's the 21 Chevrolet of Holden McGill. And these guys are cooking. They made their way around that lap traffic, got these spots back, and they're coming off pit road in front of that group that just came down.
Yep, they're gonna move themselves up pretty quickly right here. They're working together, Brandon. That's what I'm noticing about McGill, Peterson. You know, those guys, Dingler back there. They're sticking together. They're trying to keep themselves in line and keep themselves moving forward as we go around another lap. The guys coming off of pit road. That's Joseph Joe and the 20 Joseph, excuse me, in that 20 car, and then the 7. Oh, wow. Looks like Peterson got in the back bumper, McGill just a little bit right there, but they're going to assume the lead, I think, here shortly when Maligani goes in. That's going to put these guys up front.
Yeah, which they have alongside Tim Henderson. So right now, this time by, it is going to be Holden McGill, Grant Peterson taking over this race. 1-2. The 48 Chevrolet of Matt Rucci going to be sitting in third with Ryan Dingler fourth and Stefan Purcell fifth. So you asked who my favorite is, and I'm not sure I have one, but if I were to point in that direction, I did say I think this Fanatec crew is going to pull through.
I do too, but I'm going to be interested to see what happens when we get down to the last lap and Peterson thinks he wants to take the win and McGill says, no, this win is mine. And I think the teammate thing might be eclipsed by that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. Still plenty of racing left here. We are a little bit spread out now thanks to our green flag pit stops that we just had. Some lap car there making his way high up to that wall. Got to be careful there. He doesn't want to scrape that or lose control. Come down onto the leaders. Mission successful for that driver. And right now you see this 10-car pack right here being led by Holden McGill. All eyes on the leader right now, the 21 car with teammate Grant Peterson. We'll see how it fares out, but right now the advantage to them.
You know, right now that 48 car, Matt Rucci's got to be just a little bit nervous. He's got two teammates in front of him and then their third teammate behind him. So you got to kind of figure they're probably going to gang up on him, try and get him out of the way to let Dingler up there to fight for the lead later on.
Yeah, they might. I mean, they might have something there, but, you know, I think the only thing he's worried about is keeping that car straight through the turns, getting out of the back bumper on the straightaways, or on the back stretch, and, of course, the front stretch, and doing all he can.
Oh, we got a wreck.
We got a wreck. Positions.
Somebody got spun down to the infield now. I don't know if the caution did not come out.
Kyle Green, our lucky draw.
Yep, there it is. Caution's out now.
That's the 18 car just getting a little too fast off of pit road, trying to make the exit, got a little squirrely, went above the yellow line and made contact. It might have been Lauren McFadden wrapped up into that. No, there was two crashes here. So the second crash that involved Lauren McFadden actually happened behind this one.
Oh, wow. See if we can't get a replay on that here for you folks. Yeah, look at that. That is the 09 just getting wicked loose right there. Gonna come back up on track. Hello, how you doing? He got the spare right there, didn't he?
Yeah.
And this would be the second accident on track. Okay.
Boom, there it is right there.
Man. That's just
that changes a ton, doesn't it?
Absolutely. That really does. And there are some guys that are really upset that this caution came out right now. They were set to make this happen for themselves. As we talked about, they planned this and gotten their pit stops done perfectly. And unfortunately, now we have a caution that's just going to shake everything up. And that, you know, we're going to go back to green with less than 10 to go there, Brandon. I mean, this is it. It's time to go. It's time to blank or get off the pot, as my old first sergeant used to say in the Army.
Yeah, and look, everybody's already done their last pit stop. So right now we're going to bunch these guys back up. It is the Fanatec gang up front for now, but of course we're going to add an outside line to there. We're going to go back to two wide racing, and like you said, coming down or coming up close to single digit laps here, 11 to go now by the time the green flag drops. I mean, if you want to win the race, you're going to have to stay on that outside. If you give up and just fall to the bottom, you're pretty much giving up on any chance of winning this race.
Absolutely. Could not have said it better myself. And we talked about that commitment. If you're going to do it, you have to stick to it. Just because you lose a couple of feet here, a couple of feet there, doesn't mean you're actually going backwards, So we'll see.
And that's been the issue there. I've been, I didn't want to call anybody out saying it or anything like that, but with Daytona, if you lose 10 feet, you can gain 30 the next run that you get. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. But that's the best way of saying it right there, man. Good. I could not have said that better myself. You're going to gain way more than you lost if you just hang with it. You just got to hang with it. And
I mean, the Earnhardts were so good at that, right? On these, these plate tracks, Dale Earnhardt Jr., he would drop all the way back to wherever, right? I mean, they'd be 3 wide and he'd fall back in the timing, maybe all the way back to 12th. And the next thing you know, on the backstretch, he's charging up the first,
Yep. I tell you, if you go back and just watch as many of the old races as you can find with Dale Sr. and just watch the way he drove plate tracks, to me, and this is just my opinion, it's nothing official, folks, but we call it side drafting these days, and I believe in my heart Dale Earnhardt Sr. invented that. He perfected it. He may not have invented it, he damn sure perfected it. Because if you watch him back in the day, that was what he would do, inside or outside. He would just pull up on a guy, put the corner of his front fender, right next to the corner of their rear fender, and sure enough, he'd break that air up and just suck them by. And that's where side drafting came from. And he was so good at it, and Junior was just as good at it as his old man was. So, and that's what's going to take here is tricks like that, learning how to side draft without wrecking the guy. So here we go, 2x2, man. We're next to go green here, Brandon. Hopefully, it's going to be a last restart, and we'll see how it goes.
Well, I don't think it's going to be, but we'll see. Our fifth caution coming to a close here. 10 laps to go. We'll get.
Where's your positive thinking, buddy?
Well, I think we're going to see some guys try to make some moves here. Now, it's important to note that the teammates up front, the 52, the 21, the 8 car, they've all worked together really well up to this point. The 52 allowing the 21 car of McGill to have such a fresh jump on these restarts and be able to dive down in front of the 52. Now, it'll be interesting to see if the 52 is more than happy with a second place finish. Is he going to continue to push his teammate across the starting line when this thing is coming to a close?
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see. And I can confirm that all those Badger Racing guys, the FatTech guys and whatnot, are all in teams together, in comms together. So look at that. Oh, wow. Look at that. They all got down. That was all perfectly timed by teammates right there to all get by that 48 car and get down in line right there. In the meantime, we got scrubbing going on back there. Fighting and scratching. That outside line's trying to form up.
They left Matt Rucci in the dust on that one. Holden McGill, Grant Peterson, Ryan Dingler, all working together through there. The 49 of Anthony Musatti as well. So you see all these guys up front now in the top 4, shutting the door on those guys. And back to single file up here through the top 6, top 10 maybe, I guess. And then we start getting double file back there. That's where the danger is going to come from.
Well, if you look, that outside line has a lot of people on the outside there. And if they're just trying to get around that one single car down the inside, and that's what's going to take is staying together like that. Look at that. And look how fast they caught that front pack right there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's going to take right there is working together, using that momentum. Oh, look at that block he's going to throw. Is that Joseph back there doing that?
The 2-car, Jeremy Berger, going to have to be careful here. He was on the outside up in that front pack in that 2-car, and everybody kind of went down low, and I think he wanted to stay up high, and it really costed him there. You see him losing ground to the 83 of Hunter Thrower, and now he's kind of stuck in between that first pack and that second pack, and that's going to be dangerous because as that second pack starts to get a run, that 2 car is either going to have to get out of the way or he's going to get ran over.
I'll tell you, when I was watching the 20 car back here, he went to throw a block on Stone up high, and it cost him, and now he's kind of stuck down there on the outside, on the inside, excuse me, while Stone and Hamilton and all these guys are really working great together on that outside line, and they are making up ground as we speak, catching that front pack. And it's finally good to see somebody commit to the outside line there, Brandon.
Yeah, here we go. You said Joseph, he's on the inside there. To the outside are
contact.
That bunch that have been kind of back and forth from the lead all night long. Joseph, Logan Hamilton, Steve Parrott, Mario LaPinta, trying to work the outside here for what could be the final time.
Coming through the turns now, lap 95, coming to lap 96. The outside line was making, oh, we got a crash.
Oh!
We got a crash, big one. Oh, wow.
And it was that second group, Stephen Parrott, Colin Stone, Stephen Purcell. Those were the contenders. If anybody was going to be able to give Holden McGill and Grant Peterson, Ryan Dingler a run for their money, it was going to be those cars that just got wrapped up in our latest caution.
I'm not sure what happened there. It looked like they were doing fine.
Take a look at this here in slow motion. It looks like maybe the 45. No, it happened in front of them.
Yeah, that 57 car there. Boy, they didn't take a lot of cars with them.
There.
I hate to say this, but this really looks like internet, man. Well, I'm looking at it in iRacing, and from the left front suspension on the 43 car, it looks like the 57 got pretty close to him, but it was still 2 foot of distance between the two of them when he just went flying. But that's where the contact came from. The 42 and the 57 got together there. Again, they got together earlier in that lap, and sent half the field flying back there. But that's not what we wanted to see, Brandon. That's going to start the field back up with less than 5 to go when we go back to green. Do we know how many green-white checkers there are, if there are any at all?
Well, we'll probably for sure at least get one. But yeah, you're absolutely right. That is not what we want to see because, as I mentioned prior, I mean, those guys that were coming up onto the outside, they've been up front before. I think that they had the best chance to be able to catch the guys that were currently and remain up front here. So definitely a lot of cars that were contenders are now taken out of this race.
Indeed, and we see the 3 Fanatec teammates up front. And actually, I'm looking at Discord, and I don't know if it means they're teammates or not, but those front 5 are all in the same channel right there. That's Mazzotti, Peterson, McGill, Thrower, Rucci, and Dingler. They're all in Discord together. So I don't know if that means they're teammates or what, but they're definitely talking to each other. So we're going to have an interesting restart here. I would imagine we're going to see some more working together like we saw a minute ago. Oh, good Lord. Well, our producers just informed me that we have 3 green-white checkered tips, which actually, I'm going to have to go back and look here and see who did what on pit stops, but wouldn't it be funny if they ran out of gas because of all the green-white checkers? I shouldn't say it. It would be funny. It would be funny.
Well, especially for them, I mean,
yeah,
we might get a kick out of it up here, but yeah, I mean, it's a good point. I've seen it before too.
Yeah,
I mean,
same.
Sometimes you don't, even if you mentally tell yourself to prepare for a situation like that, you still don't, right? I mean, you're even if you got the apps, you know, like Crew Chief, for example. I mean, they don't calculate a green, white, checkered if they're topping you off for the last time, you know?
Yeah, and folks, what my esteemed colleague Brandon is referring to is a fantastic app that I think is still free.
Okay.
That it's it's voice activated also. You can talk to it like you would a real crew chief. You can tell it what changes you need. He'll cuss at you. He'll fuss at you. Uh, but you can actually tell it, okay, when you fill me up for that last stop, I want to go 5 gallons more than you think I'm going to need, or something like that. I've just started playing with Crew Chief. It's a really great little app. But you're right, Brandon. There's just so many things that you can get to help you with. But when it all boils down to it, when it all gets down to the end right here, it's really going to be dependent upon the guy that's in the seat with the wheel in his hands and that gray matter he's got up there between his ears. You know what I mean? The apps are going to help you all you can, but when it comes down to it, you're the guy driving the car. You're the one that's going to have to figure out how to get around that guy in front of you.
Yeah, and I bring it up again. It'll be interesting to see how the 52 and the 8 and the 49 all react to the 21 car. They've been nice enough, again, to let him kind of get the jump on these restarts and be able to dive down towards that yellow line and to get in front of the 52. How nice will they play when we are under a white flag condition?
Which we're coming around now. The green flag, Bub. They're about to take the green flag. The pace car is going to dip off here shortly. And we'll see. We'll see who does what and who's nice and who's not.
Yeah, not only that, as the pace car dips below the yellow line, it's important to note that the yellow line rule is in effect here tonight. So these guys cannot go below the yellow line to make a pass.
They did it again right there. You saw it. The 48 and the 8 checked up, and they let the 49 down. So you've got these teammates all up here together now, running nose to tail, and we've got 3 laps to go, excuse me. 3 laps to go. No, white time. It'll be the white flag next time by, right? Yeah. Oh, we got another caution. So here comes our first attempt at a green, white checkered. Steven Perriott.
And Stefan Purcell as well. It looks like Taylor Butcher Benjamin went off track. So I think there's a couple of things going on here. But certainly a huge wreck there in the middle of the field. Oh, the 43, the 45.
Oh.
Drivers who had just made their way down pit road, the caution prior, got sent to the back because of that. Obviously losing track position coming down pit road. Once again, involved in this one as well.
Yeah, and again, that's just unfortunate, unfortunate bumping in a place you shouldn't be bumping somebody at. But it's, that's part of play track racing, I guess. We're down to, green, white, checkered, and it's time to go. But didn't work out for them, so we're going to stack them up again, folks, and do this one more time. Like we said, we got three shots at this, so yay! We're gonna see if we can't wreck half the field while we're at it. Like a Tony Stewart thing going. Remember that when that interview that he did that time? He said he was ranting about, hey, it's not a race unless we wreck half the field. We think we should go back out there and extend the race until we get at least 50% of the field wrecked. I was like, I love Tony Stewart, man. He gives some of the best interviews. I'm just glad I'm not a reporter trying to talk to that guy. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, 100%. And you're right, because that's when NASCAR was at a crossroads where I think that fan base for a long time there were some people that followed NASCAR that enjoyed the crashes and that was the excitement of the race and et cetera, et cetera. And I think that bummed out a lot of drivers that there were so many fans that felt that way.
And I agree with you on that. I mean, for me, I was one of those people for a long time as a kid. I'm 52 years old now, so I've been watching NASCAR since probably the '79 Daytona 500. But for me, when it wasn't even Dale Sr.'s death, but it was Kenny Irwin Jr. and Adam Petty. When you see something like that happen to some talented people, it just took all the, I don't want to say fun, but the entertainment of wrecks away from me. It became, God, I hope they don't wreck anymore, because it kind of, it became like real that this is actually really dangerous. I mean, this is you're hurtling a 3,500-pound object 180 miles an hour uh, with inanimate objects all around you. You know what I'm saying? So, bad things happen. But yeah, you get to a point where you just don't want to see wrecks. And like right here, even though this is a sim racing, I don't want to see another wreck tonight, man. I want to watch these guys fight tooth and nail down to the finish line to get a winner. That's what I've looked for.
Yeah, and we're going to see that here very soon. We're on our second green, white, checkered flag. We'll use 3 of them if need be. Now, remember, we only need to make it to that white flag. As soon as the white flag is out, it does not matter what happens with these drivers. Every single one of them could pile up, and the race would still go on. No cautions.
Indeed, and tell you what, this is going to be an exciting finish to me. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. You've got 5 teammates up front, Brandon, that have been working really well on these restarts together, but now it's the time when we used to say when I was a kid, when the white flag drops, the friendship stops. That's the PG version.
Yeah, sure. No,
that's the PG version right there.
Yeah, and I think we could all pick up what you're laying down there. And
you smell what I'm stepping in, brother.
That's what I'm waiting for. That's what is intriguing to me. When, if at all, will that break, or are these guys saying, hey, you know what, McGill is the faster of the teammates, there's no need to really push him for the win, we're cool with the top 5 for all 5 of our drivers, let's go get it done.
And I mean, it's the first race of a very long season as well, so you don't want to risk taking yourself from 3rd or 4th and winding up dead last and losing all those points, because that could come back to bite you in the butt later on in the season also. So that's something to keep in mind. Yeah, winning at Daytona would be awesome, but you got to think big picture as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, I think I've won, in all my years of sim racing, I think I've won maybe 3 plate track races. Now, how many have I DNF'd? I stopped counting at 17.
Yeah, pretty tough, especially in the officials and things like that.
Yeah,
you do tend to get a better experience in the leagues, which, by the way, if you're looking for a league, mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, these guys are looking for Gander truck drivers. That's going to be taking place on Wednesday night. It's going to be used as a feeder series. You do well enough in there, keeping it clean, have a positive attitude. It will get you a seat in the Cup Series. Speaking of that, pace car off. We're going to go green flag racing, the 21 of McGill and his teammates all back in single file. And we are on our second green light checker.
I love how they work together. We said it every restart. They allow each other time and space to get down in single file format here, and they're going to go ahead and just try to get some space between themselves and the rest of the field. And I imagine as teammates, they're going to duke it out here when that white flag does come out.
Yeah, 2 laps to go here, coming up down into turn 3, out of turn 4 momentarily. Again, all we got to do is hit that white flag, and this race will soon be official.
Yes, sir. Come off of 4. Right now, they're looking at that white flag. And if we stay green till right about here, this is it, folks. Last lap of the race. And we've got the 21 car up front of Holden McGill. He took over that lead several laps ago, Brandon, during green flag pit stops, and has not released it since then.
Yeah, Joseph, he did peek out on the outside there momentarily. He was looking for some help, but he didn't get any. He falls back down towards the yellow line.
Here we go, the 52 car looking on the outside there. That's going to be the 52 of Grant Peterson. Thought about ducking to the outside. Didn't seem like he was going to get any help from Dingler in the 8, so he ducked back down in. Right now, we're coming through 3 and 4 for the last time, Brandon. Can McGill hold on to it, or will he have a challenge from the inside? Here we go. Everybody just scrambling down below the yellow line. That's not going to count for him. It looks like McGill is going to hang on for the win, followed by the 49 of Masanti and the 57 of Grant Peterson. That's your top 3.
Yeah, Matt Rucci 4th, Ryan Dingler 5th, Joseph in 6th there. Last minute ditch effort for him to get as many spots as he can, but it all came down to Holden McGill. We called it there on one of those green flag pit stops when McGill and his boys came down pit road before anybody else. It really was the move that opened the door for this win.
Yes, it was, and I tell you, that was great to watch. Those last couple of laps, those guys working together like that.
You see these guys side by side.
Yep, 5 teammates right there. That's pretty cool.
And what a way to kick off the season there if you're those guys. We got some post-race collisions going on there. Hopefully those guys are just messing around. No tempers being thrown, no penalties being assessed. But, yeah, I mean, what a bold strategy by those guys. It ended up working for them to perfection. Fabulous job by all the drivers here tonight. What do we have? I think maybe only 6 cautions here tonight.
Something like that. I wish I could tell you. Let me see if I can take a look at my.
I mean, either way, pretty good here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 cautions.
In the meantime, as these guys burn down the house and celebrate, Holden McGill, Anthony Musati, and Grant Peterson will slowly start getting these guys into the Discord channel. And we'll have John do some race interviews for you guys, some post-race interviews. And he'll get the opportunity to speak to these guys and really just be able to hear what their thought process was through the race. And when they knew, the moment they knew their plan was going to be successful. That's coming up here in about a minute or two. I think we'll take a quick break up here in the broadcast booth. We'll be back with some race interviews here on LSRTV. I have to get off.
All right, folks. Well, you saw it right here on LSRTV. We had the Tucson Sound Art 250 just wrapped up. We had a great finish. Saw some teammates working together. And if I'm not mistaken, we've got those guys ready for some interviews somewhere here. Let me see here. Yeah, please give me third, second, first. Sorry, folks, bear with us. We've had a lot of technical difficulties tonight, and Mason's done a fantastic job overcoming all of that to try and get us. Okay. I got it. I'll get him up here. We need Peterson. We need McGill. And who else? Rucci? No. Musati, right?
Yeah, he was second.
All right. Let me get him up here. All right. Well, we're going to start off with third place, Grant Peterson. Grant, this is John up in the booth. Buddy, how you doing, man?
Pretty dang good. How are you?
Well, I'll tell you what, dude, that was an amazing race to watch. Where did you come from? We didn't really talk about you a whole lot through the night, but then all of a sudden in the last 5 laps, there you were for a third place finish in the first race of the season. Talk to me about your race, bud.
Well, first of all, my speed weeks, that wasn't really fun either. We had connection issues for the duels, so that put us back in the back for the start of the race, and kind of just rode around for the first half of the race, got caught up in a wreck, and then teammates helped us out with strategy, and that brought us back up to the front for the final 25, and then we just kind of rode. Pit strategy, we tried to make it on a 3-stopper, and we tried to just make it go, and fortunately we got that yellow there that ended that long green flag run. I was hoping it would go green, and hopefully I could have pulled a move on Holden there, but yeah.
Yeah, we were watching up in the booth, and I was really impressed by the teamwork that was shown by those guys up front on every single one of those restarts. They seem to be able to line up with each other. Do you have anybody you want to give a shout out to tonight for your third place run?
I got to give the head strategist of our team, Holden McGill, a huge shout out. He was the mastermind behind this strategy that put us up front, and I think we were top 6 at one point, all of us. And I'd like to thank Anthony Musati, Matt Rucci, Ryan Dingler, and Hunter Thrower, their other teammates, and they've been helpful throughout this off season and into this start of the season, actually.
So, what do you think about this next gen car, man? Is it something you're excited to get into for the rest of the season?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think with more updates, it'll get way better and way more racy, especially at plate tracks. I think they're gonna add in the new horsepower this week. Something I heard something like that. I could be wrong, but it's a pretty fun car. I like it.
All right, my man. Well, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations again on your third place finish here. That's Grant Peterson, folks. He was our third place driver. Now we're going to pull in Anthony Mazzotti, the second place runner. Anthony, this is John up in the booth. You got me, buddy? Oh, well,
Yep. Can you hear me?
There he is. Yeah, we got him. Man, I tell you what, teamwork at Daytona, who'd have thunk it would have worked out so well for you, man?
Well, in the beginning, we didn't know how well it was going to work out because we kind of got shuffled to the back, and then we had a caution hit just right where we felt like we could split it. Thanks to Holden, we pitted, and then the caution came out soon after that, and then we all stayed out. So we knew once we got up there, I felt like we could definitely control the race with 5 of us. So.
Well, it was impressive to watch up in the booth the way you guys handle those restarts and whatnot. I mean, I've seen 1-2 cars do that with each other as teammates, but I don't think I've ever seen 5 or 6 of them do it on a restart, and it was quite entertaining. So, talk to me about your race tonight. At what point did you feel like maybe you guys are going to pull off a strong finish like this?
I think when one of those cautions came out and we ended up shuffling up to the front because everybody else had to pit in front of us. So once we knew that, we were just kind of committed to our strategy at that point and happened to run it out as far as we could, pit, and then I think we all shuffled back to the front again, and that caution came out again. So it just helped us even more with adding fuel in that bucket for us.
Well, is there anybody you want to give a thank you to, shout out to for your run tonight?
Well, definitely all my teammates, because we would not have been up there tonight without them. And Holden for being our main strategist right there.
Well, there you have it, folks. That's your second place finisher, Anthony Mazzotti, the 49 car. Giving props out to his teammates, which they really made it work tonight. It was quite impressive to watch those guys on the restarts give each other enough room to get down in line and proceed to kick the rest of the field's buttocks. So here we go. We've got our winner, Victory Circle, Mr. Holden McGill, the 21 car. Holden, how you doing, buddy?
Can't complain.
Well, I should hope not, my friend. You pulled off an amazing run tonight. It was really fun to watch that team link up with each other as the race progressed, and watch you guys work together through pit stops and restarts. And I just gotta say, man, I mean, especially in sim racing, to get 5 guys working together on a plate track like that was truly fun to watch. Talk to me about your race tonight, buddy.
Well, I felt like in qualifying, I kind of started off rough and barely missed out on the front row, so it wasn't a great start. The duel didn't go good at all. Ended up on the outside, it broke up, and then I wrecked at the end. I apologize to Connor today because he left a little too early, but I felt bad about that. But ended up just learning some lessons and trying to prepare a little better for tonight. And we got going, kind of grouped up in the back, just biding our time. We really didn't play that first pit stop very well, and we tried to learn a little bit from it, and then set it up to hopefully be the first cars on the track that could stop it. And just based on how the cautions fell, we were able to just barely stretch the fuel. And I gotta give credit to the guys. Everybody, I've never seen a group of guys work together like this, or I'm not gonna say I haven't seen it, but I've never been a part of it, and it's just really cool to see.
Well, let me tell you, man, I've been doing sim racing for a long time. And watching 5-6 guys work together tonight on a plate track like y'all did was a rarity. So congratulations again on your win, my friend. Is there anybody that sponsors, anybody like that you want to thank, give a shout out to for tonight?
Well, I want to thank Grant, Anthony, Ryan, Matt, and Hunter again. Just like I said, everybody killed it tonight. That was the only way we were going to finish up front. The plate tracks have become team races, essentially. I want to thank, Fanatec is just on the car. I just like the car. Want to thank pay-to-win-setups.com, Main and Tail. There's some others in there, but I can't remember what they are. D-Dub button boxes. I think that's it. Yeah, let's go with that.
Well, there you have it, folks.
And thank you to the admins and to the broadcasters.
Oh, thank you, my friend. Well, there you have it, folks. That's your winner tonight. Holden McGill, number 21 Fanatec Chevy Camaro next gen car. These guys are going to be back at it again next week. Make sure you tune in and check them out. But before we go, we're going to have a quick word with Mr. Nolan J. Rimple, the race admin tonight, one of the founders of this league. Nolan, you got me?
I do indeed, John. Thank you for bringing me to talk to you.
Yeah, listen, man, I hope I didn't interrupt the conversation down there, but I wanted to give you a few seconds, a couple of minutes here to talk about your guys that you're recruiting for this league as well, and touch on it, and maybe some things that you're looking forward to as the season progresses.
Well, I have to say, I think we pride ourselves on having by far one of the most unique schedules out there. So the fact that we're not just running the same NIS schedule that most other leagues are, I think is something that is going to make it worth sticking around to tune into our races on, because you're pretty much always guaranteed something new. One other thing that I know that we're very excited about is the new truck series that we're planning on starting up soon here. That's starting up just 1 week. I know you guys have touched on that a couple of times throughout the broadcast. So that's Wednesday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. That's when practice opens. 9 o'clock is race time. And that is currently open to the public. So if people are interested, just head on over, L-TAC Race Elite Truck Series. We'd be more than happy to get you in there. But we got a great group of guys. I would definitely say one of the most competitive fields, and yet somehow one of the more respectful fields you'll see throughout any iRacing league. So I think we can very much pride ourselves on that. You can always show up and expect a good show from us.
Well, I'll tell you what, tonight was a fantastic show. I really enjoyed it. Watching those teammates up front, man. I don't know if you were watching too close, but that was just astounding at how well they worked those restarts together. Tucson Sound Art 250 was a great race tonight to be a part of broadcasting, and they sound like they're a pretty fantastic sponsor. How did you guys come across them?
Well, actually, surprisingly enough, they came to us and they, offered to get us covered for broadcasting costs, and we said we're more than happy to, have them aboard. They have been an absolute, a fantastic help in being able to, help us actually make this whole production possible. They are an absolutely fantastic company, and they make great products. Definitely worth checking them out on their website. And you guys have been, shouting that out a few times as well. I know that we're happy with that. They're happy with that. So, it's been great having them along, and we are definitely looking forward to having them on more of our races in the future.
Absolutely. You know what? I looked at the website. I'm very interested in a couple of things that they've got on there. I did joke around a little bit earlier, but I'm dead serious, folks. Stop by www.tucsonsoundart.com. That's all one word there, Tucson Sound Art. Check them out. They got some pretty neat accessories, some sound accessories that double as art in your house, or a picture that you can provide them, or something that you get from their website. So make sure you stop on by, show them some love for the love they've given this league, and we would really appreciate it. Well, Nolan, my friend, we had a great time broadcasting this race tonight. Talk to me about the race next week. Where are y'all heading?
Well, same venue, just a slightly different layout, road course racing. I know last season it took us a few weeks before we got to our first road course race. This time there's a lot of new road courses, and one of the new ones we're going to is the Daytona road course. And It's not the only new one. We're going to places like the Nürburgring later on in the year. We're also going to Monza. Oh, yeah, we're going to all sorts of crazy places. Monza GP, no chicanes. That's not going to be a race people are going to want to miss. I'm not kidding when I say we have a unique schedule, but it'll be an interesting race next week. I know it could be one of those races where you see people start to run away with things. I know Hamilton, very, very strong with the road courses. He's definitely going to be one or two of the guys to watch out for, along with right up there with Joseph.
Well, I'll tell you what, you have my undivided attention now, my friend. I want to see some circle guys go do road tracks, but you're going to throw them on the ring? Oh, this
not the full the GP circuit, but yes.
Folks, you guys need to stop by the L-TAC website on iRacing. Check out their schedule. Make sure you tune in for that race. I guarantee you that one's going to be entertaining. Well, folks, that's going to do it for tonight for us. Thanks to Brandon, my co-host. Nolan, thank you so much for having us here. Mason down there in the production truck. Buddy, you had a rough night. I know you did. Go drink a beer or two. Get over it, because I think you did a fantastic job, brother, and we need you back. So, folks, for myself, John Mushroom Jr., LSRTV, thank you so much for joining us on the Tucson Sound R250 for the L-TAC Cup Series, and you have a blessed night and take care.